So we can start, I think so, right?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Manu Chaudhary. I'm a pediatric infectious diseases from Rainbow Children's Hospital. And on behalf of Voice of Healthcare, I welcome all our viewers for our SAVIOUR Saturdays. And we have an esteemed consultant from the epicenter of COVID in India, Dr. Barnali Das, leading the most, one of the most leading labs in Kokilaben Hospital in Mumbai. I would request Dr. Barnali to introduce herself, and then we'll start with this exciting topic about, chasing the storm during this pandemic with our laboratory support.
Thank you, Dr. Manu, for kind introduction, and good evening, everyone. And it's really great to connect with so many of you. And thanks to Voice of Healthcare for giving me this opportunity to connect with so many esteemed delegates. Today, we will discuss about the lab's role, how we chase the storm of this pandemic or cytokine storm. So I am consultant laboratory medicine of Kokilaben Ambani Hospital and Medical Research Institute, Mumbai. And I'm also the chair of AACC India section and scientific division executive member of International Federation of Clinical Chemistry and Lab Medicine. And also I'm a College of American Pathologist inspector and an ABL assessor.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Dr. Barnali, for your introduction. So viewers, we know we have the best with us today. So let's start with some of the raising questions we are, encountering in our, daily life now because of the COVID. One of the first few questions I would like to ask you, Dr. Barnali, is what do you think role of laboratory, including molecular diagnostic, is during current pandemic regarding diagnostic, its prognostic value, and then, as an epidemiological marker, all these labs which we are getting done, the antibody, the antigen, the PCRs. Please share your views.
Thank you. So I will start. I will share my screen because I want to show you the picture of during the pandemic, our picture. So I will share some story of ours. So
sure. Please do.
Yeah. Can you see my screen? Can you see now?
Yes.
So this is like chasing the storm, like we can tell cytokine storm, or during this COVID-19 infection. So every blood sample for us laboratorians, every blood sample tells us a story. So if you see, this is during the lockdown time, initial lockdown time. This is the painting. So where every blood sample tells us a story. If you see, this is autoanalyzer, and as you have told, molecular biology or molecular microbiology are RT-PCR, and sometimes we are seeing the slides under the microscope. So lab's role is different. Some are routine laboratories role, and some are the role of the histopathologist, molecular biologist, microbiologist, biochemist, and pathologist, routine pathologist. So I will share with you one story, then how we have evolved in during this COVID-19 pandemic time. So this is like 156-year-old physician. So history of fever, colds in 6 days, associated with cough with expectorant, then history of severe body ache, decreased appetite, mild hypertension. And as he was physician and one of the leading hospital in Mumbai, another hospital, he was treating patients. So there was suspected history of contact. So history of similar complaints in the close family, in daughter and wife. So he started hydroxychloroquine on his own on day 3. And on day 6, he came to our hospital, and then our RT-PCR was positive. So with such kind of symptoms when he came, so then as our RT-PCR, the molecular microbiology is help in detection of SARS-CoV-2 RNA by our RT-PCR. But it's not the role of only the microbiologist or only the molecular biology department. The role is routine lab plays a role. Everyone, routine hematology lab, routine biochemistry lab plays a very important role. So if you see in these patients, like how cytokine storm is raging, like all the liver function test, then increased, albumin was decreased, then LDH, ferritin, D-dimer, those coagulation marker increased, CPK was raised, ABG showed deranged, SO2 percentage was 72.4, and CRP, procalcitonin was deranged. So I remember it was Sunday morning, I got a call from infectious disease specialist, and like you must be, like you, Dr. Manu. So Sunday morning, and it was, I think, March initial weeks. And that time she asked me that, Barnali, I want to do interleukin 6. And that time interleukin 6 was not a very common parameter in all the hospital in Mumbai and even in India. So interleukin 6 we started, but because of workload, then it was we were not getting the kids. So I remember on Sunday morning I sent query different labs. So nobody was doing in Mumbai, only one reference lab was doing that. Also on Tuesday they were running the test. And then I have to open the warehouse of one IVD manufacturer, and IVD manufacturer opened their warehouse in a very different place, Vivandi, some place near Mumbai. And then they supplied the kit immediately within 1 hour. Then we rushed to a hospital and we have done the emergency validation.
Oh, wonderful.
So I remember all of our technical support team, biomedical team, everyone rushed to hospital to start that. And even the stakeholders like clinicians are involved, like you, infectious disease specialist, the intensivist, and all the clinicians, as well as the diagnosticians. All of us were we rushed, and even the stakeholders like IVD manufacturers, instrument, these people also rushed to they also realized in the lockdown time they were at home. Sunday morning they went to their warehouse to get the kit. So this is how the lab.
For all the viewers, the message is so much goes, it's so much of team effort, right, to get to our management of one case of a serious COVID. And role of as you are saying, role of laboratory is so important. You just look at how many things we look into the patient, how's the liver working, how's the kidneys are working, how their body is reacting to that. So IL-6 is a very a definite marker of the cytokine storm which Dr. Barnali is talking about, and it's such a nice marker to give us the status of the patient, and then management, how they're responding to the management. So exactly, it's a great
start the tocilizumab in that patient.
Yes.
So because of that, IL-6, because this is IL-6 receptor blockade, so that played a very important role. So I can't wait for Tuesday morning to get the reports. I have to, Sunday she has asked, so within 3 hours I have to because I have to do validation and I have to report for that patient. So, and if you see, it's not a single lab, it's biochemistry lab, it is hematology lab, where we see neutrophil is increased, lymphocyte decrease, leukocyte increase, NLR ratio derange. So it's team effort, and how much positive, all our technical support team, all of them were I just have to give a call, you have to rush to the hospital to do emergency validation. And that time it was lockdown, the buses were not available, trains were blocked, and so they rushed and they did the things for the one patient. So it's
so wonderful.
they act like a healer for us, all the technical support team. So with this
So
patient,
many COVID warriors, right? Behind the scenes.
yes,
So probably the patients are just seeing the nurses and doctors, who are actively treating. But look at what you're talking to us about, all these technicians, you being there in the forefront, rushing, making things
our
happen.
medical
So
team and everyone, like even you see the vendor also in
yeah,
vitro diagnostic vendor also rushed, and it's like they are all unsung heroes, and
yes,
they such an important role in patient management or patient safety. So we never realize those unsung heroes role in our
yes,
mm, uh, getting recovered and all. So
yes,
this physician, like initial treatment, they started with paracetamol, ceftriaxone, hydroxychloroquine, but there was high persistent fever, day 9, increasing CRP, ferritin. So they started lopinavir, ritonavir, single dose, but they have to stop due to increased QTC. So, but fever was increasing and their desaturation was there, oxygen 1 liter per minute, chest X-ray showed bilateral infiltrates, and with all those parameters, we can see cytokine storm is raging. So high fever, increased D-dimer, ferritin, LDH, and interleukin-6, acute lung injury by ground glass opacity in chest X-ray. So they thought they will start tocilizumab. So then all the stories started that IL-6 is needed. So tocilizumab 400 milligram and repeat dose after 1 day. But fever after toci, also fever was persistent. Inflammatory markers were increasing, oxygen required, and methylprednisolone they started after that. 30 milligram twice daily for 3 days. Then the fever subsided, decreased CRP, and then no oxygen requirement. So I think it may be around 20 or 30 days of hospital stay and roller coaster ride. He got discharged. So
wonderful.
it is such a nice feeling. And then all the lab, we diagnosticians as well as all the lab team, the technical support team, we feel so much relieved with each patient recovery. So it's
Yes.
like trend analysis of this parameters, how we were monitoring every day for each patient, how they are changing and what is the improvement and how. So like as you said, like role is not only like, one single diagnostician.
Diagnostic.
Yeah, not only the molecular biologist, not only the pathologist, not only biochemist. The role is like, multifaceted role.
Everybody. Yes. Yes.
Everybody. So we play the role of admission protocol, staging, monitoring, treatment guide by routine lab markers, and as you have said, serosurveillance by antibody testing. So if this is being a scientific division member of International Federation of Clinical Chemistry and Lab Medicine, actually IFCC and AACC are giving directives like which tests to be done for staging and which tests for the to be done and what is the sensitivity, specificity and all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for monitoring purpose. And so
And,
if we
and
see,
and it brings me to the next question actually, which I had, and I think somebody had a question, Dr. Akshay Kumar. He says, when one lab is showing COVID PCR positive and other negative, how to confirm? And basically, what I want you to shed light on is briefly, could you share about COVID, specifically COVID-19 testing regarding its sensitivity and specificity of different tests?
Yes, I'm going to share that. So as we have realized that labs role in diagnosis by RT-PCR, or sometimes in very remote area, they may not have
Antigen.
the CL2 lab, so rapid antigen testing. So and also in staging, prognostication, therapeutic monitoring. So now coming to your next question. That is this, like Dr. Akshay asked, what is this? This is like, our current lab system. For one patient, POC antigen testing showed when they did, it was negative. And then our RT-PCR was positive. Then immunoglobulin G antibody testing, when it was done, it was positive. Then only 3 different kind of reports. Patient went to the clinician, and then clinician is thinking which lab result to believe.
Yes.
Sometimes one lab is giving one day our RT-PCR negative, like he said, and next day the patient may have gone to, because the patient is symptomatic, so clinician may have asked to do repeat testing. So our RT-PCR from another lab may come positive. So then it creates a lot of confusion to the clinician's mind, which lab result to believe. So if we see this cartoon, this is our today's lab life. The patients are coming with burden of disease. And then in our lab, we use our intelligence, discipline, and creativity. Like which test, what is the sensitivity, what is the specificity, and what is the window period? Can we do IgM? Can we do IgG antibody? Or if our PCR comes negative with symptomatic patients, what should we do? And then patients are going with reports. Either clinicians are happy or they may not be not satisfied. And if these are the we sometimes we act as a College of American Pathologist inspector or NABL SSR, and seeing the lab for 1 day or 2 days, we say, oh, this lab seems to be good, or there are no non-compliance or deficiency, or there are so many non-compliance. So if we see this is the directives, what we should do, advisory from ICMR, because ICMR is giving directives. I think this is the 4th September directives, and they are playing a very crucial role in this fight against COVID-19. So this is like directives, routine surveillance in containment zones, and screening at points of entry, like rapid antigen test or RT-PCR or TrueNat or CVNat, because TrueNat and CVNat may be available in grassroots level, because Gene Expert is for TB is available. Many in
the machine like is already India. Available.
Yes. And country like so India.
We just do the cartridge, and then we can use the same system. And we, answering to Dr. Akshay's question is, we call, then laboratory physician will talk to the clinician and ask, hey, is your patient symptomatic? What stage of illness it is? Because RT-PCR can be 70%, 30% false negative, or antigen has little higher range, rate of negativity, false negativity. So if they're symptomatic, then we suggest let's just do RT-PCR. And as you said, it depends on the lab also, like how good is the lab, how is the compliance of that lab. So all these things really matter.
Challenges, actually, it's not only the challenges at the analytical level. The challenges are there at the pre-analytical or sample collection time, because we all know nasal swab gives only 63% positivity, and if it is oropharyngeal swab, so that's only 32% positivity. So there are possibility the sample collection is not proper. So because of that, we are seeing that our RT-PCR negative in one lab and our RT-PCR are positive in another lab. So the challenges is what he said, the potential RT-PCR challenges. One is the pre-analytical issues. Because of that, he may be seeing the difference in the value. Second is inadequate procedure for collection, handling, transport, and storage of the swabs, than collection of inappropriate or inadequate material for quality or volume, or presence of interfering substances or manual errors, as well as specific aspects such as sample contamination and testing patient receiving antiretroviral therapy, and also sometimes the kit. sometimes we use the kit which analytical can cause analytical problem and contribute to jeopardize the diagnostic accuracy. Testing outside the diagnostic window, maybe we are testing IgM, which may not be in the diagnostic window, then active viral recombination and inadequately validated assays. Initially, we validated so many tests. Our microbiologists used to say they have validated almost 3-4 kits, and then inadequate validation, or some kits may not, the diagnostic accuracy may not be proper. So because of this insufficient harmonization, we see the RT-PCR may be positive in one lab and negative in another lab.
Negative. So thanks. Yeah, you just covered like all the, possible places where things can go wrong. So it's for the public to understand. It's very challenging sometimes to really get the appropriate diagnostic. There's so many factors that come into play to get a good test result or whatever which has been suggested to investigate in the patient. So coming to, and now you pretty much, small points you had covered, but could you share your journey through this COVID-19 pandemic, your challenges, your staff's challenges, during this pandemic, Dr. Barnali?
Yes, like, this are the challenges. Like, if you see, I think it's not ours, it's everyone. Like testing
Everyone.
and logistics and kit availability. Initial days, we remember the kit availability. Some kits we wanted to use, but kit was not available. Like, for example, interleukin 6, everyone started, like during April, I think all the hospital started doing interleukin 6. So that time there was no interleukin 6 kit available. So people were asking which kit is good, can we use ELISA, what is the accuracy and all. So, and also the expert technical support availability, because during this COVID-19, and because this is a contagious, our team member also to build that sometimes positive. So build that motivation and team spirit. So expert technical support availability was also the challenge. And the turnaround time, as I think you mentioned, that is another challenge many lab face, because when they collected, the samples were coming in for many lab, maybe in 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. But there is limitation of like instrument, like for our RT-PCR, average time taken for 90 samples single run is 5 hours, but TrueNat and CBNat average time is 30 to 60 minutes. So, but for that, 1 to 4 sample only can be possible in single run, and therefore maximum number of tests 24 to 48 samples per day. So because of that, turnaround time was issue with some lab. And also POC and rapid antigen testing, because the sensitivity is, although the specificity is very good, but sensitivity was like they are like, very less sensitivity or moderate sensitivity. So because of that, if POC rapid antigen testing was negative, we can't really rely on the rapid antigen testing. So then our RT-PCR is the next confirmatory to diagnose if patient is symptomatic. So this is one. And then the challenge is lab safety, the PPE, proper PPE, and also the donning and doffing. So these are the challenges we faced, like at the lab level, we all face that where we should don and doff. So these are the proper guidelines and safety, biomedical safety guidelines and biosafety guidelines, what we should follow. So these were our challenges, but I should tell, like, this is our team. And when discussing that, you clinician, you heal. The patient are seeing clinician and nurses. But if you see the extended hand in this picture,
Yes,
I printed,
absolutely.
the extended hand is the diagnosticians or our technical support.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
to patients'
As you
recovery,
rightly said, yeah, they are the unsung heroes. So kudos to all those people, who are part of your team. coming to next point, could you just, I think you spoke a little bit about harmonization and standardization of kits. Maybe a little bit, share a little bit more about it. And then new markers, cost to the patient, like, all those cost and availability kind of mismatch, if you could shower some light. And I think
Sure.
we have like 5 minutes left, so we'll try to cover some of the last few questions I have for you.
Sure. See, this is like, I believe in the philosophical lines of Albert Einstein. Life is like riding bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep it moving. So similarly, our personal life or lab life is like this bicycle ride. We can have smooth ride or bumpy ride. But for us, like diagnosticians, for any test, either our RT-PCR or interleukin-6 or any small test like maybe creatinine or CRP. So this two wheels are very important. Wheel of quality, where sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, precision, cutoff, linearity are very much issue. And if you let me just give an example of interleukin-6. There were reports where it was circulating in different platform in WhatsApp and different media platform, that interleukin-6 of one patient, one day it was 3,000, and next day they have done from another lab it was 24 or something or 7. So why this has happened? So there was a lot of chaos due to that. Interleukin-6, if it is not centrifuged within limited period, 2 hours or 4 hours, then it can be released, and it is raised if it is kept without centrifugation for a long time. So this is like quality. And second thing, like sensitivity, specificity. Sensitivity of rapid antigen testing is a real issue. So because of that, if rapid antigen testing comes negative, it's our duty, like we should write that it should be confirmed by our RT-PCR. Yes, and cost is also another challenge, like 3 magic M's: man, machine, and material. So like we know the costing is a real challenge, because our RT-PCR or like TrueNat, CBNet cost is not very less, even for to procure and process, and all the PPE cost, if you add, the cost is not really less. So the cost is a challenge to maintain for any lab. So this is our real challenge.
Challenges, yeah. So thanks for sharing your view. In the end, I would like to get your thought about all these digital platforms we are using nowadays to spread our information. Our speakers from such esteem, with esteemed backgrounds like you. What do you think about it? Just like Voice of Healthcare Broadcast, I think. They're doing tremendous job, but I would like to hear what you think about it.
Yes, it's like amazing how we can connect with so many people, and it's not like there is no boundary. Like if we go to certain place for some conference and all, so we can only get the audience of that place. But now I have through webinar and this kind of support is like motivational also. I have heard Voice of Healthcare motivational talk and others discussion. So it's so much motivating, and we can connect with 1,000, 2,000, because I remember last webinar it was 2,000, and many places many delegates and many people we can connect with. So I think it's it's a very nice to connect with all of them and to connect with your colleagues. It may be clinician, it may be diagnostician. So it's a very good thing to have. This is the positive impact.
So we probably are, physical distancing, but yet we are very well connected with all these broadcasts. And the fact that, speakers like you who have experience from the epicenter of COVID in India can share your personal experiences with the rest of the people around the world so they can learn. So imagine IL-6 you're talking about in March, right? And people are now getting it to their labs. So your information, your knowledge, your first-hand experience with it can be shared with such a large,
Yes.
personnels around. I think it's amazing effort. Yeah. So
And to hear
thanks so much.
Yes, yeah, that's also for us. Like many times we don't go to the clinical conference, but now we can
Yes.
hear anyone, entrepreneur to
Yes.
clinicians to anyone. So that's
Various,
really
various. So thank you so much, Dr. Banali. This was
thank you, Dr. Manu. I think you are mute. Thank you so much. Thank you, Voice of Healthcare, and thank you everyone. It is a really great platform, and I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.